I feel like it's a bit scattered. Oh, lots of people around here. Sorry, you guys. I should have set this up first, then the song. Huh? That would have been a good one. It's okay. It's a learning process, okay? It's only been, what, 200 shows? Still learning. All right. How are we doing today? Yeah, I was watching a lot of price action for crypto. Uh, not much for Jimmy though. I feel, it's a bit like calm before the storm type thing, huh? But I think, hold on one second before I, blow people's mind over here. Because a lot of people, just one person in my life right now. Say a lot of things about Jimmy. You know how it is, how it goes, yeah. Nothing's happening. Why do you think it's still gonna go? All of that questions. I get it, I get it. But we've been here for a while, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who've been here and know something is brewing. Something is always brewing, right? Until it's not. Then it's like, oh, okay, another quarter earnings. then it'll be good. But anyway, so let me shout out everybody because I can. Hello, Aiden, Matt, Michael. Thank you. You're not a cat. Yes, I am sure you're not. But thank you. All right. So everybody's shouting out. Welcome. Yes, so price action, not doing much. I'm sure it has something to do with the calls and all that stuff, right? But we've seen a lot of bets going up, calls, volume come up, right? Hold on, let me see. I haven't even looked at the call options here, see what's happening. But again, I only have 2 calls for now. End of May, down pretty substantially on those, but only 2, so I'm not too worried about those. I might add a few more, you guys. Might add a few more. So we'll see what's happening. I should have added today, actually, if I wanted to add more. But I was like, too occupied with the crypto market at the moment. Because, hate to say it's excitement, a lot more excitement over there. Not to say that Jimmy is not excited either. I think people usually make the mistake of not looking into Jimmy because it doesn't do anything. And I think, in my experience, when something is flat and doing nothing, usually this is the best time to buy and accumulate, right? You don't want to buy something that is already been blown up, all talked about and all that stuff, right? Again, all the meme coins and shit coin, they call it, right, quote unquote shit coin, are there to distract you from the real thing. Okay, the same way with Jimmy, right? All the other meme stocks out there are there to distract you from the real thing. The real thing is, of course, Gamestop. Not GME, not whatever. Again, Bed Bath and Beyond still, right? People still talk about Bed Bath and Beyond. What's the new thing right now? I'm sure there's something new they're gonna try to invent for you to get into. It's like, oh, this is the next GME 3.0, something like that, right? But you all know all the game. I hope anyway. But again, there's always new people, right? So I guess there's always a greater fool to fool, apparently, because people are gullible sometimes. I feel okay. But anyway, so people were watching June chain. Am I June 20th? Maybe June 20th. So yeah, so June 20th, you see a lot of open interest there out of the money call options. Yeah, that's crazy, right? 250 and all that stuff. But the other one are not as much. So let's see. I'm trying to see if it's over 100,000 or anything. May 16. Okay, this one, May 16, is over 100,000. So this is worth noted. So perhaps, again, people are, banking on Ron Kitty perhaps gonna do a YOLO update and all that stuff. So again, if it doesn't happen, it really doesn't matter to the company in and of itself. This is just a, icing on the cake type thing. Nothing to worry about here. When people are investing in GME, right, they're afraid that it might come down. It's like, how are you afraid of that? And even if it coming down, you think like the value of the companies just deteriorate. It's like all of their money that they have accumulated thus far gone, out of existence. No, of course not. The share price just come down because people are stupid. Maybe, I don't know. Or market makers just try to scare you off. All right. You want to be scared because the price drop? Like, okay. I don't understand people's psychology sometimes because I'm like, okay, no wonder people get tricked, right? And okay, well, if you don't have conviction, what can I do, right? I get it. Money is emotional. When you see your portfolio down like 50%, you're like, oh my gosh, like my gut is punching, But don't feel that way again. Like if you feel that way, don't be in the stock market, please, because that's gonna like punch you in the gut until something is green, right? And again, that's why people lose money all the time because they're like, oh my god, I can't take it anymore. I know it's not for everyone, for sure. This stock, again, highly volatile for a reason. But I assure you, is there any risk anymore that people are worrying about that the company is like suddenly it's going to go bankrupt? Chill. Like, I feel like this is the least risky company ever on the planet. I'm telling you, in the whole world. Less risky company ever. I dare say that. Yes. Come back in 10 years and play this particular episode. Okay. Goodness, I don't know. Like, just had a conversation in the morning and, all of that kind of pops up. Sorry, I'm aggravated at the moment with the sentiment. But, to me, I usually gauge this person's sentiment. I know, he's usually watch, but, maybe later on. But yeah, pretty heated argument there, but whatever. The thing is, when this person usually very negative, something is about to happen to GameStop. So, I'm pretty bullish, and so that's why I'm thinking about adding more, come Monday. But hopefully, Rowan Kitty's not going to tweet until then, right? Until Tuesday. Don't tweet yet, please, Rowan Kitty. Wait until Tuesday, okay? So that I could load on call option on Monday. Just kidding. But anyway, as far as the company in and of itself, I feel like I have to repeat this over and over again until people realize that the price action doesn't matter, you guys, okay? Yes, price action matter to a point when you want to establish a position, okay? Yes, you want to buy as low as you can, obviously, duh. So make sure when you buy, it's fair value. Oh, it's like what? 2x multiples, okay? But understand that, okay, well, earnings per share doesn't, whatever. Earnings per share is 33 cents per share. And so if you want to, do that math, all right, So what is the, hold on. Actually, there's a stat there. Remember when they were like, oh my God, that's 1,000 times earnings per share, right? Now what is it? Oh, sorry, 1 second. Give me 1 second. Okay, speaking of the devil. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I'll call him later. We'll argue about GameStop again. Anyway, so as I was saying, okay, so when people are just like, oh, yeah, thousands of baby, okay, what is it now? What is the forward projected one? So it's going to continue to go down much quicker than people thought. Okay, remember when we were, $6 million per share. Okay, $6 million per share. Sorry. See how aggravated I am? My goodness. Okay, so when we were making this much, right? People were like, "Oh, we has to wait another year to make this much." Like, oh no, actually, this one right here. Where was it? I remember this. Sorry, actually, hold on. I'm looking at the operational cost income, but with the net income, right? People were like, I wish I had a better way to scroll down like this. But anyway, let's go back to the net income right here. People were like, oh, we have to wait a whole year to make $6 million. Next quarter, it's like, okay, there you go. And then what is the next quarter? People don't understand the snowball effect, I feel, And it's not that they don't understand. I just feel like people listen to the media way too much. Way too much. The negativity comes from the media. I know that, right? But of course, too, it's very frustrating because if this person listened to the media so much, and that's the way that they evaluate the company, there's no changing their mind at all. I mean, it's almost like talking to a wall sometime, right? Which is fine. They will change their mind in due time. And this is happening to Tesla as well. Tesla has to prove to people what freaking how long? 10 years before they are, able to do what they're doing currently, right? And still people are still like baffled at how the company could be at more than, $1 trillion, $2 trillion, more than any other car making company, right? Combined. And so again, the reason being is that people were just so overly bearish and were shorted to oblivion. And then when retailer just keep buying and buying and holding for decades on end, there you go. And again, like I don't think it's gonna take another decade for people to realize what this company could do, right? Because again, more and more retail are cotting on to the fact that Jimmy is, hey, a good company to own, right? It may not be making rockets, but it's investing in Bitcoin, right? Hopefully. We're hoping. But it'd be crazy that Jimmy's not buying Bitcoin immediately when it was at $70,000, right? And so whether that is a speculation, I think it's a speculation based on evidence, right? Okay, they did the convertible notes to buy Bitcoin or stablecoin. Or it could be another cryptocurrency too. They didn't word it that way. They specifically said Bitcoin. There you go. So it's not far-fetched to be like, okay, yes, they would add Bitcoin into their balance sheets. I think the question now is how much Bitcoin are they making? Are they buying then? Okay. And so is it going to be $1.5 billion or the whole $6 billion? Can you imagine if they put the whole $6 billion? Yeah, it'd be earth shattering, right? They'll be like, oh shit, they're actually serious about this. Like, duh, if you listen to MicroStrategy, having picture with him, what do you think's you're gonna come out with? Yes, you're gonna realize that the only way to preserve your value in the world is to buy Bitcoin. And again, it's like you could say, oh, it's a hype and it's the blah, 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 blah. It's like it's just hype, it's just hype. Okay, just sit on the sideline. Be that way. Okay, just be a speculator. That's it. You're just spectating, that people are just going to the moon type thing. Okay. It's okay. I mean, people enjoy that too, I guess. Okay, but we have the ticket. We are actually going to be on the moon. Project Rocket incoming May 12th. Yeah, there you go. So again, like those dates and all that stuff, right? I tend to not pay attention too much. But yes, I mean, every date has a settlement system and all that stuff. So a lot of too much of what I might not understand. So, so yes, go ahead, speculate and all that stuff. But as far as like the company in and of itself, I have shares, so I don't mind what date it's going to explode. I don't care. I already established my position, and whenever it does, it's going to do its thing, right? I'm proud that I have been accumulating more now than I used to, because I did jump into crypto quick before it, a couple weeks ago. And so now I was able to accumulate more GME based on that. But of course, I gamble a little bit on GME shares while it came down. But thank goodness I was able to scoop a little bit more. So my goal was to get a specific a specific amount. I guess I'll post it later. Monday, perhaps. But anyway, that's besides the point. Okay, the point is, shareholder meeting is going to be 12. Is it 12, right? June 12th. Let's see. I think I had a shareholder meeting. Oh, this one is June 4th. Shareholder meeting, but I think it was June 12th when they announced it, and they already give the. Wait, am I tripping? Can someone confirm if they did post something about June 12th? Where's June 2nd? Oh my goodness, I forgot. It might have been June 2nd, you guys. What's so special about June 6th? Why's June 6th? Hold on. I think this is a week. Okay. June 5th. June 4th. Proxy vote. Okay, what day was the annual meeting? I think it's 12, right? Am I tripping? Goodness gracious. Okay, so Thursday, June 12th, I think. If I don't, can't remember. But anyway, besides the point. I'm sure you guys gonna correct me in a minute here. But anyway, so GameStop's gonna do something amazing soon. Sooner than you think. I'm telling you, okay? So what do you think's gonna happen when they announce finally how many bitcoins they have, how many bitcoin per share, the same thing that these people are trying to do. But keep in mind, people don't realize how scarce Bitcoin is. Okay? Scarce. 21 million coins. That's not a lot. Okay? I listened to this gentleman, and I think it's worth kind of play him because I feel such a resonant. But hold on, because he's just talking about how people just ignoring. Okay, hold on, and I think I showed his before. Hold
I probably shouldn't be telling anyone.
on. Not her, not her. Okay, let me come back. Money rules. Okay, so it's a pretty long one. So let me speed him up a bit.
Today, tell me what you plan on buying. Tell me what cryptocurrencies other people need to be buying. Tell me why Bitcoin's going to $1 million per coin. It might be the lack of sleep. I don't know. It might be I really feel like I'm going crazy some days, and maybe I are. Who knows what's happening? I don't know how much longer we can take this. I don't know how much longer personally I can take this. This sounds like a joke. It's not. No. What the heck is going on? Why is it that every single day the news that we keep getting is absolutely psychotically, insanely good for the cryptocurrency Bitcoin market? I don't know if I'm missing something. When I look for news, when I look for like the daily happenings of the cryptocurrency space, I make sure that A, it happened, but B, that like it's actually other places to see that like I'm getting like the full scope of the news. A lot of times, news websites will sometimes omit that XRP is part of something, or that another coin was also like a fragment of it as well, and they'll focus on one simple thing. The problem is that calm down. The problem is that we keep getting very specific news, and I don't know if the market is incapable of acting correctly anymore. I know we've had a lot of corporatization news. We had this a couple of weeks ago where someone mentioned, they were like, corporations are here. They have complete control over the market now. There's no longer a, retail, normal people driving up prices. No, it's just pure companies and institutions. We're getting so much news about the downfall of the US dollar, about Bitcoin taking over, about Bitcoin being the world reserve currency, and I mean like from Bank of America, from Fidelity, from BlackRock, from Bloomberg. Watch the last couple of videos. It's like all the news that we keep getting over and over. And yet, we are still under a $500,000 Bitcoin. It doesn't make any sense anymore. None of this is actually lining up to be logical in any sense or manner. Do you remember another recent video where we were talking about the amount of Bitcoin on crypto exchanges hasn't been this low since 2018? The amount of Bitcoin that's left is not enough for BlackRock, MicroStrategy, and third company to my brain is a mess. BlackRock, MicroStrategy, Fidelity? I don't remember. It's not enough for them to buy. The United States will never have 1 million Bitcoin. It's just not going to be a thing. Capital 21 is this other company who announced that they are basically going to do a 10x of what MicroStrategy has been doing. The entire point of Capital 21, for those of you who missed that insane video, I thought we were going to pump. Do you understand? I thought prices were going to lose their mind that day. This company said they're going to replicate what MicroStrategy has been doing, but on a completely different level. They said they are never going to sell Bitcoin. They're only going to accumulate more Bitcoin. The point of the company, for those of you who missed it, is to accumulate more Bitcoin per share. It's called BPS. Their goal is to release financial products, make money from them, and throw all profits back into Bitcoin, making the company and the shareholders richer. I said in that video that we're going to see a replication of this because it's genius. Every company who's announced that they are getting into Bitcoin, their share price has risen.
Except GameStop. Why do you think that is? Sorry, I have to jump at that. I don't mean to scare anyone. It's just... Oh my goodness. But anyways, you get the point, right? My whole thing about Bitcoin is that I know, I don't own too much of it. Because I think that, this cycle, XRP is gonna outperform Bitcoin in terms of percentage. Okay, because it's still low and it's still new relatively, and of course the whole bet on utility coins. Okay, and so that's the only reason why I'm not into, I'm not all in Bitcoin quite yet. Of course, eventually I'm just gonna accumulate small amount here and there, right? However much I could accumulate, and it's more like a store of value type thing. Okay, and so over time, we'll never sell it anymore. When I buy, I'll just hold, and then however high it's gonna go, it's gonna go. Okay, typically. Now, the same way with GME, the same exact thing, right? But I think with GME, though, as a shareholder, if they were to add Bitcoin, all I have to do is just accumulate GME. Same exact, playbook as the other company that are making as much as they can in order to buy Bitcoin to, store value, the capital and all that stuff. So that's one. And then I was watching another video about a MicroStrategy. I think, maybe I've been watching a lot of Michael Saylor explanation of what Bitcoin can do to companies, and can do for companies, sorry. And it's kind of makes me think about GME without Bitcoin. Okay, that GME could do it without Bitcoin, but where was it? I'm sorry, I should have marked it. Goodness. Okay, 1 second, you guys. I will find it, and I will. He just did an interview. Maybe I could just do State of Bitcoin magazine. What was it, Natalie? That's her name. Yeah. It's this one, but let me see. This one. Okay, let's go.
We're Phoenix Energy.
Okay, so oh, Moran's lunch break. What's up? Hey, Lionel, what's up? Welcome to the show. Let me see. Great history recap. Yep, I saw that one. Yes, of course, Epstein's and all that stuff related. Of course.
Ferrari, right?
Hold on.
Playbook is cash is trash, and cash underperforms the S&P index. And so the S&P index is the cost of capital, and if you've got excess cash flow, then you need to return it to the investors so they can invest it and get that cost of capital, or get the S&P return. And you either do it with a buyback or you do it with the dividend. I think the primary reason the market concluded that is because for 100 years, the Treasury reserve asset of every public company was short-dated Treasury bills. And they never had another Treasury asset. Your choices would be Treasury bills, gold, or Bitcoin. Gold was the reserve asset of the 19th century. Corporate sovereign debt, like 30-day T-bills, is the Treasury asset, the reserve asset of the 20th century. And Bitcoin is the reserve asset emerging in the 21st century.
Next up, a quick word about my...
Well, I mean, it's a new asset class, obviously. Einstein, Saylor talk too much. I know, I mean, again, he's talking his book, obviously. He's, talking about Bitcoin, obviously. But also, too, I think it requires a lot of education when it comes to Bitcoin. People still don't understand it. Right? And again, anytime people talk about anything new asset class, yes, it's been around 20 years, but can you believe how many people that's still talking about GME in this sense, right? So Bitcoin has received some of that brunt 15 years ago. So technically, we're pretty new to this game of bashing, something that is so valuable. That's why I'm saying I see that correlation between these two asset class. Okay. Of course, GME is a company, but it's different, type of bashing here. But anytime there's something new to the market, they don't want you to have it, or at least understanding it. The people that spend the most time bashing something, usually it's the people that don't want you to know about this new emerging asset class. Especially now, when all of the big institutions are accumulating it like crazy, they rather you buy, Shiba Inu. Oh, it's the biggest thing ever, right? And again, I think this is the advent. That's why meme coins, all of the, Shiba Inu, what's the other one? Dogecoin was invented to distract you from the real thing, which is Bitcoin, right? Now Ethereum's the same way. Of course, Ethereum has its application. I get it. But is it worth this much? I don't think so, right? Because it's slow, it's not scalable, but still they want you to be distracted by Ethereum. Not to say that you cannot make money on Ethereum. It's just that the real asset, hard asset, and all that stuff, you can't beat Bitcoin in that sense. And it's going to beat gold market cap. I don't know if it's going to be this cycle, maybe next cycle, until more and more people are caught onto it, obviously, right? And of course, the bank could make money on it as well. Now, bank could hold it, bank could buy it, bank could, custody it for customers. And more younger people are buying, owning digital asset, crypto and all that stuff. So of course they're gonna have to, catch up with those customers that eventually gonna want them to custody their Bitcoin or, XRP or whatever, right? And so they come because now it's profitable for them. Okay. And they could use it for tracking and all that stuff too. That's kind of a little bit scary for me, but again, whatever. That's like 20 years from now type of problem. So let's listen in.
Friends at Bitwise. They've been educating investors on Bitcoin for more than a decade with crypto. Coin Stories is also brought to you by BitDeer, a global leader in disrupted with crypto. Coin Stories is also brought to you by BitDeer, a global. Don't forget to join me in BTC Vegas this May and attend the Don't forget to join me in BTC.
The sovereign debts, and with the bond market that people weren't expecting, we have a lot of macro headwinds that even Bitcoin, I think, is facing. I'm sure the audience would benefit just from your macro perspective. We have these global war threats and tensions, the trade war. What do you think about that? And how should people look at Bitcoin, and how should investors really analyze these concerns?
Well, all of these actions are creating uncertainty in the market, right? Trade uncertainty, operational uncertainty. How do I organize my supply chain? What products should I stock on my shelves? What products should I buy? How long will it take? What services do I need? Where do I source the services? That uncertainty creates massive inefficiency. It creates dislocation. Investors are discounting the future cash flows for the next 10 years of a given business. And so if it's uncertain whether the business will exist and in what form and how profitable it'll be, then they tend to shoot first, ask questions later, or in this case, sell first, ask questions later. Their view would be, let's just back away from the market until it becomes less uncertain. That's what is driving the macroeconomic headwind right now. Whenever a company runs into a difficult time like that, whether it's COVID or whether it's the current, tariff wars, it behooves the company to be extremely well capitalized. What you would like is to have a company that has a deep pool of liquid assets you can rely upon, even if your core business revenues get zeroed out. If you don't have that, you're going to go bankrupt in a prolonged crisis. Herein lies the solution, the promise of Bitcoin, and the problem with traditional corporate finance. traditional corporate finance teaches these companies to decapitalize. So they've all been decapitalizing. They've been surrendering their capital via buybacks and dividends. So when they're not well capitalized and they run into economic uncertainty in their operating business, that creates extreme anxiety for the employees, the executives, the customers, and the investors.
That's important, right? So this is the playbook that this is how corporate evaluate companies that have cash. And that's why GME is just like, oh my God, they have too much cash. It's like, really? Is there such a thing as like too much cash? Because they teach other company to just always spend. And this is what the problem that we have, right? Every company is out there. What happened when you're spending money, not well capitalized? I think that's what he meant by well capitalized, right? What happened when you spend money? You don't have other money to operate the day to day. And what happened when you don't have the money to operate day to day? Example, AMC, right? What happened? Oh, shareholder, of course. They're gonna be antsy to the point where, okay, I'm gonna have issue share. I'm sorry, my hands are tied. We cannot survive that way. And of course, that's the way that they are using the excuse to dilute you and I. But when they dilute, what happened? They just spend it without any expectation of, at least, okay, let me just hoard some cash, because when uncertainty hit, what happened? People could just running out the door, oh my gosh, and they just sell the shares. And this is why the price dropped, right? When people are just becoming like so uncertain. And the same way, like they just sell Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin has no earnings report, nothing like that, right? Because they don't understand it, right? And so, of course, it's the easiest thing. It's the most available thing ever. You could sell it on the weekend if you wanted to. You could buy it on the weekend. For every seller and buyers, for every buyers, there's a seller on the other side of it. Whether it's the exchange or whatever, right? Or manipulation. You could, assume whatever you want. But depends on the platform that you buy it in, right? My whole point is that, Bitcoin is more available. And so, of course, people are going to sell that first, even though they don't understand the value proposition of it. They just know that, okay, it's too volatile. I can't stomach it. I'm done type thing, right? And so if you don't understand the value of something, then you're most likely to be fear. And then you're like, okay, I'm done. Like, I'm not going to hold this anymore. Even Warren Buffett was saying it too, right? If it dropped if Berkshire Hathaway were to drop 50% tomorrow, he wouldn't be, running with the head cut off. No. In fact, it would be the buying opportunity, right? For people who have money. Now, back to the company. When the company has no money, usually they go to shareholder to get it. And so with GME, when people are telling you, oh, they have way too much money, okay, when they are diluting, they keep that money to snowball, right? Because otherwise, no matter how much business that they are doing, right? Yes, they do make money, but they don't make enough with the interest that they got from selling shares. You know why? Because it was becoming too overvalued by speculator. And so why can't we take advantage of that? Leadership know this. And so that's why they take the opportunity to raise more cash and store it. I mean, how is that so complicated for people to understand? I don't understand that either. It's like, oh my gosh, like seriously? You are afraid that GME is going to go bankrupt at this point in time, really? Or it's like that GME is not going to make money. Serious? Okay, all right, buy something else then. Go. I mean, it's so simple and very frustrating to me to explain to people sometimes. But it's okay. All right. You want to buy something else and move 10% a day and then drop down 20 tomorrow? Why? because the price moves, so therefore I'm gonna buy. Really? Okay, all right. Go buy. Hopefully you make tons of cash. But just remember, okay, when it comes down, depends. Like if you understand the instrument in which you put your money in and you make money, congratulations. Proud of you, okay? But don't compare that to GME. Don't compare that to, something that you don't understand. I know, Bitcoin is going to take so much longer time for people to realize that, hey, maybe you should own some, right? Because again, global money supply, they're going to inflate until they can't inflate anymore. Nobody addressed the debt issue yet. Eventually, you're going to be $100 trillion debt in 10 years, and people are going to still baffle. Why is Bitcoin $10 million? Well, okay, well, you don't understand the debt. The debt ceiling is going to be keeping raising until what? Until we all realize, oh shit, it's just some bullcrap. that a handful of people have the ability to print money infinitely. You realize that, right? But you cannot print Bitcoin. Sorry. Doesn't matter how hard you try. You can't print more Bitcoin. So that's a value proposition. If you understand that, 10 years from now, you're going to thank yourself. But again, I know MicroStrategy is just talking his book. But I've heard about it's a scam and all that stuff. They just don't realize, the value of Bitcoin yet. Perhaps 10 more years, they're going to realize it soon. And then they're going to promote it. And then they're going to understand. It's like, oh, yeah, right. Same way with GME, right? It's like, oh, okay, now I understand leadership point of view. They're here for the long term. He's talking about buckle in, right? It's like, and then posting, I'm talking about Ryan Cohen here, okay? Posting a picture of him getting older, right? Meaning that he's going to be here for a while, right? And then make references with Carl Icahn, making reference to Warren Buffett, right? Don't you think he's following those people? At least have some inspiration from those people, right? And if you respect those people, why wouldn't you respect Ryan Cohen to do the same strategy, but combined it in such a way? Now he's combined it with Bitcoin, Michael Saylor playbook as well. So it's a combination of things. It's not just one thing to make things, so stable that you can't even shake, the shareholder of GME out. And forget about I'm not even mentioning, the legacy story that happened to GameStop. You think it's gonna escape people's psychology? It's like, no, of course not. It's gonna be becoming the most popular thing again. And then people are gonna be like, oh, it's still around? 10 years later, they're gonna be like, what? And then they go, oh, okay. GME makes $2 billion this quarter. Okay, why? Interest from Bitcoin. Oh my God. People just don't understand this at all. But anyway, they'll come back in due time, and then by then they'll be too late already. Anyway, friends, I'm buying big. Next month, 2 shares a day. All right. We're moving up in the world. Okay, so his back are it's so heavy and it's hard to take it serious. Okay, that's hard to take. That's fine. I mean, I get it. But eventually people are gonna be like, yeah, complaining that he has too much Bitcoin. And he's gonna leverage it, right? And he's already planning to dilute 42, something like that, $42 billion. So he's going to combine $84 billion, half of it in the equity half of it from the debt, okay, like the bonds, and he promises to pay 10%, okay, and the other one is 8%, but with the convertibility. So it's more like a perpetual. So it's trying to compete with Treasury, which it might be successful because if it's backed up by Bitcoin, right, that is fixed and more kind of superior. That's kind of what I'm thinking too, along the line of that eventually Bitcoin is going to be pristine collateral, even more so than the US Treasury. Okay. I mean, just look at the US Treasury devaluing themselves too by buying its own bond. Okay, remember Scott Bessent saying that he's going to buy Treasury? Right? So meaning that they're going to print money to buy their own Treasury. So it's like Japan all over again, right? So how can you grow? You cannot grow. It's like, and people are not trusting the government to, return them money back. So that's why they ask for more rate, for higher rate, okay? And it's not so much that the Federal Reserve is the one that, control the rate. No, the market is the one that control the rate. Is that people are not going to be suffice to be like, okay, I'm okay with just 0% or even 1%, 20 years, worth of government bond. And so that dynamic, Bitcoin has been kind of, taking the reign here. Of course, that's what MicroStrategy is trying to do, I'm sure, is try to, get the debt market to come to him so that he could buy more Bitcoin. There you go. So his goal is to buy 1 million Bitcoin as quickly as possible before it goes to $10 million a coin, right? Whenever that happens, of course, it's remained to be seen. But yeah, people are gonna laugh at that too. It's like, you think that that Bitcoin's gonna go to 1 million? Oh yeah, it's gonna go to 1 million. Then it's gonna go to 10, and it's gonna go to 100, right? So people are gonna continue to laugh. The same way with GME too. That people are gonna be like, you think it's gonna be 200 shares, $200 a share? They're gonna continue to do like the same exact, chasing that. So, but with GME though, I feel like we have the dilutability still, right? With Bitcoin, there's no dilution there. 1 Bitcoin is always 1 Bitcoin. But with the dilution from GME though, yes, the equity per share is going to increase over time too. So again, depends, right, on the asset, stacking cash, stacking Bitcoin, more digital asset. Hopefully we're going to open up the NFT marketplace again, and then we could accept Bitcoin. We could accept, every other coins as well. XRP even, whatever. But anyway, at this time though, we are still waiting on the regulator, to regulate, to put a sound regulation still. So that's why you don't see the enthusiastic of buying in droves yet, right? So yeah, I mean, it's coming, you guys. They see the money, they see the blood, they see how to make money now. You think they're gonna just sitting on the sideline? Come on. The reason why banks don't hold Bitcoin in an asset class is because it used to be that they can hold Bitcoin, but they have to put it in a liability instead of asset. No bank would make that choice. Doesn't matter how great Bitcoin is. They will not hold Bitcoin in their balance sheets. Now they could count it as an asset, right? So of course, Bitcoin's gonna go to 1 million. If you're not careful, yeah. Okay, so didn't kick off the bubble. Didn't he kick off the bubble? Bubble of, you mean like the 2008? Or the dot-com bubble. Dot-com bubble. Maybe, I don't know. His share just went up pretty high back then, and then it come crashing down, something like that. But he's not the one who kicked it up. I think it's just people speculating on his company, and it just went crazy. And then he fall back down, and then he found Bitcoin, and then there you go. The rest is history. So now, yeah, maybe he's gonna kick off this bubble of Bitcoin too. But before that, you get it at the bottom, in my opinion. Every buyer for GameStop share, there's a black pool. You mean dark pool? For hedge fund. Yes, of course. But again, the reason why I think it's tougher for GameStop to explode is because of there's so many tools in the market that I think Bitcoin market doesn't have, or crypto market in general. Because again, with the global trade happening 24/7, yes, there's a pump and dump every night, right? You could see like the whatever, but as long as people just keep buying, right? There's always people keep buying. When you sell to people, yes, people gonna buy and sell. They're gonna try to trade, and they're gonna think that they're gonna, get it at the best price and then sell it at the best price. And eventually they're gonna realize, like, if you just buy and hold, whatever asset that you buy, eventually you're gonna make much more than you could make by trading in and out. The big guys, they usually don't trade every day. Typically they trade, based on the macro, It's like they wait, 4 years cycle. And so you sell every 4 years type thing. But again, nobody have the money to do that unless you just consistently, like Morans do, like buying every day. And then your cost average going to be somewhere where the middle is at any given time. Okay. So imagine if you buy Bitcoin every day, for the last, 10 years, you would have 1 Bitcoin by now. Okay. $1 a day for the last 10 years, you would have 1 Bitcoin by now. So don't underestimate $1 a day, which is what, $30 a month. Don't underestimate that over the last 10 years, right? And so the name of the game is to be consistent. That's it. Only a handful of company beats the S&P 500. So why are they buying share back? They should buy the S&P. Of course. I mean, they buy their own share back because they don't know what to do with the cash, And again, buying their own stock back only benefits the people that are top, the top holders. Unless you have hundreds of millions of shares, right? You're not going to benefit from what, $20 billion, in Apple or whatever, Microsoft or whatever, who just announced that they're going to buy their stock back. I mean, it's better to put it on Bitcoin, obviously, because Bitcoin outperformed S&P 500 by a lot. So, it honestly doesn't feel like there is a safe company to invest into. C-suite is another level. The rest is scummy. You mean scammy? But yeah, I mean, I truly feel that though. Like, again, if not the executive just, sitting and gathering their money, right? Shares, rewarded share for themselves, and like devaluing the shareholder by just rewarding shares to themselves rather than adding any value to the company in of itself, or even just giving it to the employee, right? I think stock buyback used to be illegal. Why? Because it doesn't, you know, that money should go into the economy somehow. They should reinvest it in, you know, build new products or something like that. But instead, they're allowed to just buy their own stock back. And I think that law needs to change, other than, you know, because again, like at some point, you're going to be like, okay, what is enough? How much is enough for this executive, you know? And so again, you know, Ryan Cohen kind of like have that mindset as well, that, you know, some of the company are just there just to devalue our shareholder equity. They're not there to build anything new. They are not there to, you know, at least make or give back to their employer or employee, sorry, you know, something like that. But I just feel like, again, stock buyback should be illegal again. So that's the only way that they could, you know, give it back to the employee. And so that employee is gonna have more money to spend. I mean, think about it. If you earn $50,000 a month, sorry, $50,000 a year versus a month, you know, the people that earns less gonna spend more into the economy because it's neat, right? There you go. So that's why the money flows better if you give it to the employee rather than the top executive. I mean, how many yachts can you buy? Come on, you know? How many Lamborghini can you buy before you become so numb? But anyway.
The promise of Bitcoin and the Bitcoin standard is that every company can be well capitalized. Because if you simply start sweeping your cash flows into Bitcoin, or you convert your dividend into a Bitcoin buy, or if you convert your buyback of stock into a buyback of Bitcoin, then your enterprise value over time would double. And your organization would be valued partially on future expectations, but partially on the assets you own. And so you can imagine when 95% of the value is future expectations, when they become uncertain, 95% of the value becomes uncertain. But when half the value of a company is based upon the assets they own, right, then they have a built-in insurance policy or a shock absorber, and they have the luxury of being able to sit back and see how things work out, but without being desperate or taking short-term actions. And Bitcoin offers one more collateral advantage, which is the more uncertain the operating world gets, the more valuable Bitcoin becomes and the more compelling the idea is, because there are no tariffs on Bitcoin. Bitcoin doesn't have supply chains. It doesn't have all of the regulatory risk, the tax risk, the operating and the execution risk that you have when you have a business based upon providing products and services in a particular way.
This is the part where I kind of correlated to Jimmy here, because we did that already, right? We're like half of what we own is traded, like the 2 times book. This is the book value that, you know, Marantz talk about a lot. Book value, we have 2 times. You know, we have assets, you know, okay, sorry. We have assets that we could be just sitting around and not, you know, half of the company value is asset traded at, you know, half. I mean, currently probably like a little bit more than half. Okay. So probably like close to three times book here. But my point is that this is what he's saying, where, you know, when you are traded at 2 times book, you know, as a company, when you have money, you don't have to be just scrambling for other people's to give you money, okay? And let alone the people that are predatory to give you money. Because now you have the luxury to just sit back and relax when things are just chaotic, right? And when you have leadership like that are thinking 3 years ahead, remember, Brian Cohen probably perceived this to happen already, where eventually people are going to be like, or companies, going to not have enough cash. And what are they going to do? They're going to go to shareholder. And so rather than do that 3 years later, why not we just raise money as much as we can? You know, that's why he sold shares, dilution and all that stuff. Ahead of time, when shares is way so overvalued back then. So now we could sit pretty and laugh at other people and not laugh at people, but building, you know, while people are scared, we're now in a building stage. Now we're looking for opportunity. Okay. While we have cash. When people have opportunity, some company don't even have cash to do that. And so now we have cash to do that. So how is that bad? I don't understand this. And when I see that, right, a lot of people just so emotional because of the price. I know, price not doing anything yet. That should be an opportunity of a lifetime. I know, I understand, like, again, you know, money is very emotional for people. And that's why market makers understand this to the T. They know your psychology on money. How do you feel when your portfolio is red? And when it's red, they release negative news about something, tariffs. Bad. That crisis, right? The biggest drop, the biggest recession. Remember Jim Cramer said Black Friday on the lowest point? And be careful. They're going to do it the other direction. It's like, oh, market's going to keep going up. They're never going to come down. Buy now. Like, okay, Trump just tell you to buy. So I don't know if Trump is part of the club here. But the last time when he told people to buy stock, what happened? You know, it goes up in value. So I don't know. Again, I don't even know how to evaluate that. But as far as the global money supply go, Bitcoin's going to follow that 80% at a time. So I'm going to bid on crypto market to go higher. And of course, stock market too. So how high does it go? Well, look at the global money supply. It's going to go to the all-time high. And then I don't know how it's going to be playing out. But if Trump's going to pump the market, I think Bitcoin's going to do well. Crypto market, the whole crypto market, actually, not just Bitcoin. But anyway, and also GME is going to do well as well. Because again, they're thought of us as a risk asset. It's unfortunate, but that's how it goes. Anyway, 1 second. All right. Sorry, just got my mail. But anyway, so I might have to go, you guys. I am gonna... Sorry. Maybe a couple more minutes. So let me skim through your comment real quick and then I'll play my question.
Or buyback of stock into a buyback of Bitcoin, then your enterprise value over time would double. And your organization would be valued partially on future expectations, but partially on the assets you own. And so you can imagine when 95% of the value is future expectations, when they become uncertain, 95% of the value becomes uncertain. But when half the value of a company is based upon the assets they own, right, then they have a built-in insurance policy or a shock absorber, and they have the luxury of being able to sit back and see how things work out, but without being desperate or taking short-term actions. And Bitcoin offers one more collateral advantage, which is the more uncertain the operating world gets, the more valuable Bitcoin becomes and the more compelling the idea is, because there are no tariffs on Bitcoin. Bitcoin doesn't have supply chains. It doesn't have all of the regulatory risk, the tax risk, the operating and the execution risk that you have when you have a business based upon providing products and services in a particular way.
You've said that if you want to 10x your money, buy Bitcoin. If you want to
But anyway, this is more leverage stuff. But anyways, I mean, that's the part in which I thought about GME. We did that without even having Bitcoin on the balance sheets. But again, like I said, we don't need Bitcoin to survive as GME, but we need Bitcoin to grow faster. That's for sure, right? Because again, the growth comes from the global money supply printing. That's all, right? And so businesses are struggling. Why? Because again, they are, holding their cash holding their asset in cash denominated in dollar. So if dollar were to be printed, right, cash printed, you won't be able to, earn your way, even though you have, 5%. What if the printing press is 6%, 7%, or even 10%? They tell you it's only 2%, or below 2%. That's what the official data is. But it could be higher, right? How can you believe in the official data when you measure it against your own expenses? Do you really feel that it's only 2% a year? It's not 2% a year, you guys. If you were to compare the prices, okay? And again, I know depends on what price of egg and, all, some of that is outlier. But if you were to do an average, right, of everything that you need to spend money on, the inflation is probably somewhere 7% a year, not 2% a year. Okay, so I know at one point in time the inflation was 9%, but then it coming down. When Jerome Powell was telling you it's transitory, right? So now he's so slow to lower the rate because of whatever reason. But the trend is there though. He's not saying he's never gonna lower the rate till the rest of the year. No, he's never said that. Just that I don't know what is the delay is, but as far as his word is that the economy is doing well, people are having jobs and all that stuff, which is, I feel like it's bullcrap. You've heard of layoffs all the time, right? People are just laying off. Companies are not. A consumer doesn't have any money to spend. How can the company grow? They need consumer to spend. So when consumers are in trouble, of course, Wall Street's going to be in trouble too. But yeah, I don't know how it's going to play out. But yeah, it's remain to be seen. We know what Bitcoin is. We know what Bitcoin, sorry. Oh, okay. So yeah, I think it's going to continue to go up, you guys. So we'll see. But what I'm interested in is GME buying Bitcoin. How many billion of dollars is he going to buy? Oh man, you guys, if he wants to be lethal, obviously he would have put $6 billion on the whole thing. Be crazy, right? And then sell when it's peak. And so that's what if he went all in $6 billion and then sell when we reach $20 billion worth of market, worth of Bitcoin, and then just hold that $20 billion in cash. Can you imagine that? Then we'll be like, okay, S&P 500 for sure, right? And then on top of that, we'll have a profitable quarters and all that stuff. Man, people don't realize this at all. In due time, I'm not going to spend time, talking to people anymore. It's a waste of time, honestly, but yeah, let them come, let them get the FOMO, let them do its thing, right? And whoever realized this before the explosion, congratulations. I really truly believe that. Okay. All right, guys. I know about the Ford thing. It's so crazy, huh? Ford is trying to give back to the employee, but then Dodge sued and won. And then now Ford has to be forced to buy their stock back, even though they're trying to give back to the employee. So stupid. I mean, the world is backward, right? Makes you question reality sometimes. But anyway, I'm gonna have to go, you guys. I'm gonna have to grab something to eat real quick. And yes, thank you so much. I'll be back tomorrow. Maybe in the morning, as usual.